Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Canadian Shield. My name is Sterling. I'm your host. So there was a blasphemous moment in the French Olympic game opening ceremonies. And I did warn everybody that these Olympics would not be worth watching. How could they be worth watching with so much of our broadcasting taken over by such a tiny, tiny percentage of humans? The independent media is not being given any chance to broadcast these, only the people who are in tight with Davos. So there was absolutely no way in the world that it was going to be anything other than the message that they've been trying to push for whatever it is, nearly 10 years now. And my issue with it, of course, is that it's all one-sided. It's not about inclusion. It's about exclusion. It's about anybody who doesn't agree with us is out. And it's no different. You wake up in the morning after this fiasco, after insulting and angering roughly 3 billion human beings, all in an effort to appease, 0.1% of people, 0.01%. You would think that they would be willing to at least have some dialogue on the matter. But true to form, CBC woke up and decided to just scrub their website. They didn't issue an apology for airing it, nothing. Now, before I get into it, I would encourage you all to like, comment, subscribe, share this channel with all of your socials, comment on the video. I enjoy dialogue, and we have to have a community where there's dialogue. Okay, so I'm just going to let you watch what they put out on the air. CBC played out on the air. This would have had to have been approved. There would have been no aspect of this opening ceremony that wasn't signed off on by the Olympic Committee. And it's important to understand that this is what happens, right? When you start to target certain groups, you feel like it's safe to mock their religion, their faith. Anyway, I'll get into that in a minute. Okay, so that's the picture of the Last Supper at the top, and that's what they did at the bottom to try and make. I don't know where the child comes into it. I think they just wanted to put that in there so that they could say, oh, look, the child is around, people dressed in drag, so get over it. Because they live in a very myopic world. They think everything is all about the United States of America or whatever it may be. It's only a very small little scope. They don't appreciate the idea that there's, roughly 4.5 billion people on earth that all go to church regularly, that all have crosses in their homes. And here I'll give you this angle because it goes a little bit wider, so we can see like all of the players that were involved in the particular, what can only be deemed blasphemous portrayal. Now, I don't know how the child gets involved, and I don't understand why they felt it important to depict Jesus as a woman. I'm not 100% certain like what the logic stream is there, but I can say with complete belief that doing this offended, a few billion people on earth. And the fact that they didn't see that coming only indicates how they feel they can punch down on the Christian world. They feel that they can punch down on everything that they hold in their belief system. I mean, the Last Supper is a pivotal hinge point moment in the Christian religion. It's not about dinner. It's about the fact that Jesus sat down at the table knowing that somebody there was going to betray him, and knowing that before the sun rose, he was going to be in custody of the most powerful army on the face of the world. I don't know what they want to put through their mind. Because people want to ignore the significance of it, it makes it easier for them to punch down on the Christian religion, which is not a smart idea. I mean, I'll be completely candid with you. I'm well-versed in history, and you think right now that everybody's calm, but I can tell you there are at least 15 or 20 off the top of my head that I can name that were all religious-based conflicts that fought in Europe, and the outcomes were not what the pretty picture of Hollywood. That's not part of this video, though. This video is talking about how they feel that it's okay to mock this very significant moment of the Christian faith. And they don't do it because they'll say, well, we're trying to just make it seem like we're inclusive. But The reason that there's so much paintings about it, there's reasons that there's so much description about it, the reason that there's so much discussion about it is because it's been traced. People hinge on it, not because of the dinner, but because the man sat down, had dinner, everybody passed out, and he stood there waiting for his fate to come around the garden while Judas walked up and pointed right in his face and said, "This is the guy." There was no internet. They didn't know what he looked like. They walked right up to him and said, "This is the guy." And let's talk about how that impacted society that you live in today. 12 people were at that supper. What's a standard jury? You have the right to face your accuser. Walked right up and pointed at his face. The mocking of the very foundations of the culture that you live in, the culture that provides you with the makeup that you put on, with the technology you're utilizing to portray it across the planet, is very insulting. That's outside of the faith of it. That's just the logic stream there is ridiculous. What do you think you're tearing down? You're tearing down your own self. The absurdity, the ludicrousness of it can only be described as ridiculous. Now, you may be aware I'm a little annoyed. I was so annoyed I had to put the internet away yesterday and just sit down and ignore it because I don't like, Jesus ran around healing everybody. Christians put hospitals all over the world. Jesus sat on the side of mountains educating people. Christians put schools all over the world. And for some reason, people want to tell themselves that can be punched down on. And the mainstream media approves of this punching down. CBC put this out. Then you wake up in the morning and they have completely and utterly scrubbed their website. They have cleaned it for anybody who might want to see it. So I went to have a look to see what they're saying today, right? The CBC, who if their shoes were on the other foot, they would be losing their mind. They lose their mind if a Catholic school won't raise up the rainbow flag. They lose their mind. And they are a state broadcaster. So let's just think about that when we look at this. So I Googled it, right? I just put it in. Opening ceremony CBC. There's the link right at the top. No problem, right? Games of the 33rd Olympiad, Paris 2024. Opening ceremonies, 4 hours and 38 minutes. State broadcaster, right? My tax dollars pay these people's salary. And click on the link and boom, gone. Sorry, but the page you requested could not be found. Please try again from the homepage or contact us. Rather than just admit that this was a bad thing, they pulled it down. They censored it. They censored it because they can't handle the fact that they would have to say, whoops, we're sorry, Christians, that we have insulted you. We're sorry, Christians. We would never do that to the Islamists. We would never do that to the Buddhists. We would never do that to any other, the Hindus. No, but we'll only do that to the Christians. So rather than say we're sorry, rather than show you that it was a bad idea, we'll just rip it down and pretend like it never happened. And if you think that I'm wrong, here's their main Olympics page, right? No problem at all. Our Royal Bank Olympic Games, right? Why is the Royal Bank still sponsoring all this censorship? Cheerios, left and right. Cheerios scrolling up. They got all the medals there. Jasper, Olympic pre-race. There's even a story about Maid. But there's nothing about this insult to billions of Christians around the world. Then they specify diving and swimming. Then they go back to talking about, like click here so that we can. Local is Ottawa because I wasn't signed in. Watch on Gem featured. There is absolutely nothing in this website mentioning the Last Supper fiasco, not even mentioning the opening games. So they ripped it down out of the page off the main website, and they refused to put it up on this website where they are talking about nothing but Olympics and links to their main website. Censorship by a government body that takes billions of dollars. Now, I would harp on that for a minute. They take billions of our dollars. That means that I'm a shareholder. I have the right to say, but they don't care. They feel like they're a very select few. How many people decided that should be ripped down out of the website? 1, maybe 2. There's 40 million people in this country, But two people have decided that you are not allowed to see it ever, 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 ever. Not from the people who are the only people in Canada permitted to show it because they have that monopoly. This is what censorship looks like, people. This is how they try to control and shape the message so that you won't understand just how little they care about what you know. They don't care about your information rights. They don't care about your rights to know the truth. They don't want you to know the truth. They only want you to know what they decide you should know. And if you think it's just Canada, well, in the States, the broadcast was being carried by NBC. A drag performance resembling The Last Supper, right? At Olympic opening ceremony rankles conservatives. Some fan loved this unabashed display of French kish. Others, particularly those that espouse conservative or Christian beliefs, were not happy. And then look what it says. There was an error providing access to this protected content. Astounding. There are Christian religions in this world that Jesus isn't the head of, right? Coptic, to name one. So they don't really care about your religion. They mock every part of your belief system. And if you mock them for holding the belief that there are 150 genders, or if you mock their belief that any of their beliefs, they will attack you. So they have privileges that you do not. And there was an apology issued, but not carried by anybody. ESPN, Paris 24, apologizes for the Last Supper sketch after criticism. NDTV, which is New Delhi, so this is out of India. Really sorry, Paris organizers apologize for offense caused by the Last Supper sketch. Is CBC saying that they're sorry? Nope. Is CBC even covering that the Paris Olympic Committee said they were sorry? Nope. CTV, Global, any of the Canadian billionaire tech platforms that take all of the Canadian money that tell you that you're not allowed to listen to any other news except for the Canadian platforms? Nope. Not a time of air of this particular episode. My issue is that there's no equality in this behavior. If you want me to believe that you're allowed to believe in as many genders as you want and all of the stuff that the far left espouses over this particular issue, fine. But now when I tell you that I have particular beliefs, you tell me that I am deserving of ridicule, you mock me, you make fun of me, you basically piss all over everything that I stand for. And because you get tax dollars, because you have the protection of the minor liberal government, I'm supposed to swallow it. I got to eat it because a small selection of people decide that the rest of us have to do what they say. Does that sound like democracy to anybody that's listening to this, or does that sound like tyranny? I know what I feel that it looks like. Why don't you tell me down in the comments what you think it looks like? All right, I'm going to wrap here. I'm going to go get a hold of myself so that I can do another video where I'm not quite so cross. Anyway, I want to thank you all for listening. I'll talk to you next time.